Mark, everyone.
Let go. What does it do?
Mark, you wanted some.
I do.
All right.
You know I do. What
I'm
are you
just,
talking about?
I'm just, so what do you come up to assume?
In fact, I'd like to start out with I Should Care.
Gosh, I wish I got it. My standards bank
Hello, let's see. Okay.
So yeah, that one's got too much rust on it. But I'll chill for it.
I'm gonna try to figure out this mic. So I was just up in Port Townsend. We had a Fiddle Tunes festival. It was awesome. So, it's just a bunch of old farts all getting together with their instruments and with the young farts and playing them and jamming. Lots of jamming. And actually people who were at Fort Worden were doing workshops and stuff like that, studying with teachers, but I had my 2 kids with me, so I couldn't really do that. My kids weren't too happy with me even jamming, but that's too bad because they got to camp, they got to go on the ferry, and it was a lot of fun. And we camped out for 2 nights. The crooners crooned until 4 in the morning the first night, and it was great falling asleep to that. Well, I didn't fall asleep. 4 o'clock about, we fell asleep. My kids fell asleep though, because I read to them, and they always fall asleep when I read to them. Doesn't matter how interesting the story is. Then the next day I just pick up where I left off and figure whatever they missed. It's like, well, you'll catch up. That's when I read to myself, that always happened. Like I remember I loved to read, so I would just be reading all these novels when I was a preteen and teenager, and I'd find myself 3 pages later wondering, what did I just read? I have no idea. I don't remember. So anyway, we play these old time tunes. I like to start with an old time tune usually, and it helps the fingers sort of get in tune on a fiddle. It's pretty fiddly because, like here's a G, there's a D, here's an A, here's an E. You know what, Evan? I'm gonna check and see if my A is really 440. It's pretty close. It's a little sharp, just a bit. But how's the 5th intervals doing? I think it's okay for rock and roll. It's okay for old time. So anyway, like if you get your G on the next string up and you tune those together, and you do that for all the 4 of the strings, and then like get the 4ths, make sure they're good. Because perfect 4ths and perfect 5ths, you can really hear it, right? The waveforms just line up. So your ear can tell that the perfect 5th. That's why it's called a perfect 5th. That's why it's called a perfect 4th, and not a major 3rd or a minor 3rd, where things get a little more subjective. Okay, so I like to tune with those. And also this G up here on this string, making sure it matches that one. It's always a good thing to do. And these old time tunes are all in fiddle-friendly keys. They're in G, they're in A, they're in D, whatever. G is like the people's key as far as normal fiddle players go. Those bigger fiddles called violas, they like the key of C. I think C is okay. If I have to play C, then I have to lower this finger down to an F, lower this finger down to an F. That's okay. But G is great. So Evan, could you just play some G for me? You okay with that? Okay, so we played this one before. I'm gonna bring back Kid in the Bacon because it's such a great tune. It has a D chord in the A part and a C chord sometime in the B part, but that's about all I remember. Okay, but mostly it's G, if you just play G the whole time through. Okay, so this is called Kid in the Bacon. Thank you. For this next one, there's this composer named Dave Frischberg. He wrote the song that a lot of people have heard. It's My Attorney Bernie. You probably have heard that one. He also wrote this song. It's called You Are There. It's a really beautiful tune. And like a lot of jazz tunes, I think they sound pretty cool as old-time fiddle tunes. But this one is really interesting because it fits in like the old-time style almost perfectly, except for old-time you always want to do A-A-B-B. Like maybe there's a C part, so you might do A-A-B-B-C-C. Each one is 8 bars, you know, you do 8 bars, A-A-B-B, A-A-B-B, until someone sticks their leg in the air, and that means you're supposed to stop. That means this is the last time through. Or every once in a while, at the end of the last B, they'll say, one more time, and then everyone will know that, okay, this is gonna be the last one. So, Dave Frischberg, You Are There. First, let me think if I can sing it for you. I don't usually do this, but I'm gonna try. In the evening, oh, you know what? I'm gonna see if I'm matching the key. No, I'm not. In the evening, when the kettle's on for tea, a old familiar feeling settles over me, and it's your face I see. And suddenly I feel you're there in a garden. When I stop to touch a rose and feel the petals soft and sweet against my nose, I smile, and I suppose that maybe somehow you are there. When I'm dreaming and I find myself awake without a warning, and I close my eyes and fantasize, and suddenly I realize it's morning, and my fantasy is fading like a distant star at dawn. My dearest dream is gone. I often think there's just one thing to do. Pretend the dream was true and tell myself that you are there. Thank you. So this will make something up. Maybe, you know what you were playing earlier, I thought was really cool, and like one of your tunes, that if you just took a little part of that and you just looped that. Like I invited a couple other people to play with me tonight, but they declined, which I understand. Like jamming isn't everyone's bag. I just love jamming with anybody. Like everyone here, there's so much talent, and thank you to Evan Flory-Barnes at Lotties Lounge for this really great open mic. And all of you for being here and the incredible talent we've seen tonight. I'm always so inspired by all of you. And I'm thinking, wow, see, like they just take a little piece of something and just loop it, like any of your songs like that you have already under your fingers. They're very complicated, they go through a bunch of stuff. But when you're jamming, you just like take a little bit and just loop it and see what happens, right? So I would love to do that with anyone who loves to do that. I love to do that. So
which one was that? Which one?
Oh, you were doing something like yeah, no, and then what was the next tune you did?
Then I did
yeah, all those ninths. You
Yeah.
got like the ninths going on. So I'm up.
which part do you want me to sample?
Yeah, sample. Right. There you go. Like that's it. Right? Just there. Yeah. And then like he knows his tune, so he gets me going on this, and I'm like, okay, I'm listening. Like that's the most important thing, right? Big ears. You just gotta listen to what is the other person doing, and just get into it. And then, okay, let me demonstrate. Maybe I'll hit some bad notes. Oops. You just forgive yourself right away. Classical players don't do that shit. No offense, I mean I like classical music, but I can't play it. No, I'm kidding. Like there's some classical I actually do enjoy playing, but I love old-time fiddle, bluegrass to some degree. Bluegrass is like the jazz of old-time fiddle. See, Evan's being really nice to me. Whenever you find a musician who's nice to you like this, like, you just want to play with them all the time. Maybe you want to have with them a little bit, you know. Since we're not really playing that song, doesn't matter if we mess it up. And the way you always end a tune is you just make eye contact. Alright, thanks a lot everyone. Thanks, Evan.
Thank you, Mark.